My first show 2 years ago, walking into the studio, I have never been more nervous in my life. But I had my former co-presenter, Reem, sitting there. We were able to go through the questions in advance, and that definitely settled the nerves a little bit. But my first time actually stepping foot in the studio was one of the auditions that I had ahead of being offered the job. And walking into the studio, I never ever thought that I would actually land this job, because I'm someone who has never been in front of camera before. Really was always behind the camera and loved working in media, but never ever stepped foot in this way in front of a camera. So walking into my audition, I really had a sense of, well, what have I got to lose? You know, I really didn't think I would get the job. So in a way, I actually think that kind of calmed me down a little bit, because I just had such a sense of, well, I'm probably not going to get it anyway, so let's just have fun with it. And got the call, and here I am 2 years later. I cannot actually put into words how much I have learned over the last 2 years. 2 years in a way seems like such a long time, but also has absolutely flown by. I can't believe how much I've learned in such a short period of time. I've learned about this news industry itself, media industry, writing for news, behind the scenes, just the stuff you see in terms of editing, putting together reports, organising reports, all of that. But also how important news is in the lives of children, which obviously I was aware of, but actually being in classrooms, hearing what you guys have had to say, how interested you are and passionate you are about what's going on in the world, that has been one of the huge takeaways that I've had from this whole experience. Every single day, this job has brought a smile to my face in some shape or form. Whether that has been, as I say, going into classrooms, meeting all of you guys and chatting to all of you guys. What you see makes the final cut. There's been a lot of laughs and fun in that, but also some of the stuff that doesn't make the cut, the really funny bloopers, a lot of which are from myself standing in front of a camera, making mistakes, tripping over words, but also some of the stuff I've gotten to do, be that zorbing, meeting alpacas, meeting therapy dogs, going out to stables, and then some of the very important stories that I've been lucky enough to cover, where it's been, you know, coming into Children's Hospital in Crumlin, coming out to St. Michael's House in Baldoyle. Every day is fun. And aside from the reporting element, obviously coming into studio, the co-presents are always a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun last year. They're a lot of fun this year. Every day has been fun. And I can really say that hand on heart. I have so many highlights from the last 2 years, and I'm sure I'm going to accidentally leave a few of these out. The biggest highlight has been coming into your schools every day, meeting you guys, hearing what you have to say, hearing about your interests, your passions, what you find entertaining, what you find funny. That has absolutely been such a highlight for me. So that has been the highlight. In terms of specific moments, I would have to say any report that involves animals, meeting alpacas, meeting dogs, meeting cats, meeting horses, whatever, meeting a hedgehog that I interviewed here in studio, coming out to not only the schools, but some of the big events like the ESB Science Blast for 2 years in a row, for the BT Young Scientist Awards, Young Innovator Awards out in Croke Park. I've gotten to do some amazing reports outside of schools. I've been lucky enough to do a few reports in St. Michael's House Special School in Baldoyle. The work that that school does is just absolutely incredible. Coming out to CHI Crumlin as well last year, again seeing the amazing work that the teachers, the doctors, the nurses do there. I feel incredibly lucky to have had the opportunity to come in and film in those schools. Another highlight I have to say has been the co-presents, particularly this year. You mightn't believe it, but Barry actually trips over his words quite a lot in the rehearsals, and that is always pretty funny to me. There was one question of the week which was about your favourite jokes, and I have never laughed as hard in a rehearsal ahead of a show as I did reading out some of those jokes. So fair play. Thank you to everyone who has watched over the years, who has written into our question of the week, who have invited me into your lovely schools, and to the kids who've been interviewed by me, to the kids who I've met along the way. I've had the most fun 2 years of my life, and I really mean that hand on heart. And it is entirely because of you guys being enthusiastic, being interested, being passionate. So thank you so much. I'll specifically talk to the kids who are maybe that little bit shyer, because that was me when I was in primary school. I was the shyest kid in my class in primary school and in secondary school as well. I was very quiet. I was never ever volunteering to put myself in front of camera. I loved writing and I loved the news, and I was passionate about the news, and I was passionate about what was going on in the world, but I never ever saw myself as someone who was in front of camera. But one day I just decided to put myself out there, to take a massive leap of faith, and it has worked out. So what I would say is just believe in yourself, don't be afraid to take chances, and try to have as much fun as you can along the way.